Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
The silence is finally broken. After months of total radio quiet, shifting release dates, and endless speculation, Sony Pictures and Hailee Steinfeld have just confirmed the update every Spider-Verse fan's been waiting for. Yes, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is officially back in active production. Recording sessions are happening right now, the cast is back in the booth, and for the first time in years, there's real movement behind what might be one of the most ambitious animated films ever made. But, and there's always a but when it comes to the Spider-Verse, this comeback raises a few questions. How confident is Sony, really? Can the team top the visual and emotional chaos of the last film, or are we setting ourselves up for another round of delays disguised as creative progress? Let's break it all down. So here's the headline. Beyond the Spider-Verse is officially hitting theaters on June 18, 2027, a week earlier than originally planned. It might not sound like a huge move, but that kind of scheduling shift says a lot in Hollywood. That new date lands just before Father's Day weekend and Juneteenth, two culturally strong, family-friendly holidays. That's no accident. It's a strategic sweet spot for box office momentum. Originally, this movie was set for March 2024, then delayed multiple times because of the industry strikes and the insane workload behind the animation. It bounced between June 4th, June 25th, and now, finally, June 18th, 2027. So for the first time in years, the release date isn't being pushed back, it's being moved forward. And that, honestly, is a rare sign of confidence in this business. The Spider-Verse timeline has been messy, to say the least. But this move shows that Sony Animation feels like the project is not only back on track, it might even be ahead of schedule. And from a strategic standpoint, it's a smart play. By sliding the film up 1 week, Sony neatly avoids competing head-to-head with Shrek 5, which is now set to drop June 30th. That's huge. You don't want two major animated franchises targeting the same crowd within days of each other. Moving early keeps Beyond the Spider-Verse in the clear while still riding the early summer hype wave. It's not just a scheduling shuffle, it's a signal. Sony wants this movie treated like an event, not just another sequel in the queue. Let's talk production, because Hailee Steinfeld and Greta Lee have given us our clearest look yet at what's happening behind the scenes. Hailee, who voices Gwen Stacy, recently confirmed she's back in the booth recording brand new dialogue. She joked that she said the word Miles in more ways than she thought humanly possible. Excited, terrified, heartbroken, you name it. But what's really fascinating is how she described the process. According to Hailee, Spider-Verse doesn't follow the normal animation playbook. There's no single locked-in script. The story evolves in real time as the actors record. Scenes get rewritten, emotional beats shift, and fresh ideas get layered in constantly. It sounds chaotic, but that creative flexibility is what made the first two films so groundbreaking. Greta Lee, who voices Lila, Spider-Man 2099's AI, also confirmed she's been recording new lines. She called the process a mix of comedy, chaos, and pure creativity, saying it's one of the most fulfilling voice gigs she's ever done. Interestingly, she hinted that the movie might actually be further along than fans think. Because Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse started as one massive story before being split, a lot of voice work may already be done, sitting quietly in the archives waiting to be finalized. So yeah, this sequel may have been quietly in production before we even knew it. Now, let's talk about what little we know story-wise. Sony's keeping most details locked up tighter than a Prowler gauntlet, but insiders who attended CinemaCon 2025 say the movie opens with a powerful line from Miles himself. "Everybody keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go." From there, things apparently pick up right where Across the Spider-Verse left off, with Miles on the run. A fugitive in the multiverse hunted by Spider-Man 2099 and the Spider Society for trying to save his father and defy the so-called canon every Spider-Man must follow. It's rebellion on a cosmic scale. Remember, Miles discovered that his father's death was a fixed point, a canon event. But instead of accepting fate, he's determined to rewrite it. That defiance is what sets up the inevitable showdown between Miles and his Earth-42 counterpart, the Prowler version of himself. 2 Miles, 2 worlds, one impossible choice. And honestly, that duality alone could make this one of the most emotionally charged animated films ever made. Here's where we need to stay grounded. As brilliant as the Spider-Verse series has been, it's also infamous for brutal production cycles. Animators on Across the Spider-Verse reportedly worked under extreme pressure to deliver those jaw-dropping visuals. So when Beyond was delayed, a lot of people suspected internal tension, maybe even burnout. But according to recent reports, that time off wasn't wasted. Sony Animation apparently used the delay to completely overhaul its workflow, building a more sustainable system that still allows for experimentation but doesn't crush its artists. That's encouraging, and it might explain why the studio seems confident enough to move the release date forward for once. Co-directors Bob Persetti and Justin K. Compson have both said that they've crafted what they feel is a deeply satisfying conclusion, promising a finale that ties up the trilogy with heart and purpose. Bold words, but from the team that already delivered 2 Oscar-tier masterpieces, it's hard not to take them seriously. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the creative masterminds behind the franchise, have been teasing big things. At Sony's CinemaCon panel, they described Beyond the Spider-Verse as being built for IMAX screens, literally engineered to look stunning on the biggest possible canvas. Their words are, "It looks insane." The sequel reportedly pushes the animation even further, blending multiple art styles and universes together, not as a collage, but as a living, breathing multiverse. In Across the Spider-Verse, each dimension had its own look. Watercolor for Gwen's world, graffiti punk for Hobie's, glitchy chaos for Miguel's. This time, the goal is to merge those styles fluidly within single sequences. It's ambitious, maybe dangerously so, but that's exactly what's made these films special. They take creative risks other studios wouldn't dare to touch. And thematically it fits. The whole story of Miles Morales has been about finding unity in chaos, connection through difference. So visually blending those worlds together just makes sense. Of course, Beyond wouldn't be complete without the voices that made the last 2 movies so loved. Shameik Moore returns as Miles Morales, confirming through social media that he's been back recording new dialogue since August 2025. Hailee Steinfeld Gwen Stacy remains front and center, the emotional anchor of Miles' journey. Jason Schwartzman reprises his role as the Spot, this time fully evolved into a true multiversal threat, not just comic relief. And yes, Daniel Kaluuya's Spider-Punk is back, and apparently louder than ever. His anti-establishment energy and distrust of authority perfectly mirror Miles' own struggle to break free of the Spider Society's rules. Rumor also has it that Kaluuya's Spider-Punk spin-off could directly branch from events and beyond, serving as a launchpad for future Spider-Verse projects. And speaking of rumors, Andrew Garfield has once again fueled speculation with his recent comments about wanting to swing through the Spider-Verse one more time. Could we finally see his Amazing Spider-Man enter Miles' world? Maybe, but for now, cautious optimism. When you take a step back, it's clear that Beyond the Spider-Verse is meant to be more than a sequel. It's the emotional and artistic culmination of one of the boldest animated trilogies ever made. But Sony's ambitions don't stop there. Between the rumored Spider-Punk spin-off, the ongoing Spider-Noir live-action series, and whispers of a live-action Miles Morales film, the studio's clearly setting the stage for a full multiversal expansion. It's possible Beyond could serve as a narrative bridge, connecting animation and live-action into one shared Spider-Verse. If done right, this could be the blueprint for the next generation of superhero storytelling. So where does that leave us? We've got a new release date, active recording sessions, confident creative teams, and a story that promises to challenge everything we thought we knew about Spider-Man. But skepticism is healthy. Delays, overhype, and massive expectations have burned fans before. But if any franchise has consistently shattered the ceiling for what's possible in animation, it's this one. If Beyond the Spider-Verse sticks to landing, it could go down not just as the best Spider-Man movie, but one of the greatest animated films of all time. But that's the question, isn't it? Will Beyond the Spider-Verse live up to the impossible hype? Or is Sony quietly building towards something even bigger? Something that redefines the Spider-Verse entirely? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your theories below. Do you think this is truly the end of Miles' story? Or just the start of something new? Because one thing's for sure, Miles Morales isn't done swinging yet.